All right, sorry for the delay. It is 6:14. I'm calling to order the Wildlife Management Advisory Commission regular meeting, March 15th. All commissioners are here now, luckily. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, citizens' comment period, none. Moving on to then business items 5. 5A, we're going to skip for right now, and we'll come back to it here in a minute. 5B is approvals for minutes of January 25th.
I move we approve the minutes as they were presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That vote unanimously passes. We'll move on to 5C, wildlife and wildlife incidents within City of Garden Ridge. Any comments, questions, concerns about 5C? Not all at once. No comments, no concerns, no questions? Okay. Items C2 would be basically the city council meetings for February and March. We didn't have anything that we had to put forth, so I don't think there was anything that needed to be discussed or was discussed likely about wildlife management. So, nothing, right? Yeah. Anything about Parks Committee? Nope. Okay.
Do you want me to, like, every once in a while, I do get the update. Do you want me to go? Or do you just want?
No,
me
I
to
think
hear?
it was really just about the renaming of
Butterfly?
that.
Yeah, and I don't think we have anything from that yet. So
Okay.
we'll keep an eye on it.
Fair enough. Commissioner activities and projects. I don't believe we have any activities going on right this second. We're pretty slow without, I know we had, the only thing I think I'd asked about last time was one of the commissioner projects, and that was about the hog gates, but that was it.
We also started looking at the mayor's monarch pledge, but I looked into it, the surveys, they're asking to be turned in by March 31st, so we may have kind of missed the window. It's from December to March. So I'll look into it a little bit more and find out what we can do. If there's something from the Native Plant Society, I know they just gave out their grants for wild milkweed. So I'll see if we want to do anything more as people are reconstructing their yards after the freeze, but that's about it.
Okay.
The gates for the feral hogs are being installed. Eric's backed up on that, but he's working at it.
But we do have them and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Future education training session, Grapevine articles. I don't think we have anything going out that we need to put on there unless I'm wrong on that. The answer's no.
The answer is no.
Wildlife management plans make recommendations to that if we need to make any adjustments. I don't think we do, unless y'all want to say otherwise. No? Okay. And then ordinance 210, number 5, discuss and make recommendations. I don't know that we have anything. Do we have any issues with ordinance 210? Any violators like myself who've not attended city council meetings for the last 2 months?
No, city council voted to essentially suspend any attendance requirements
Okay.
in ordinance 210 until the public health emergency is over. So throughout this year, you are not required to make 2 city council meetings, but it's still recommended that you do.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um,
And
I-
we can come back, we're going to come right back to you right now. So,
Well, I have an update, a report.
Oh.
Because I'm supposed to liaison with the, our biologist from.
Perfect.
From Comal County.
Okay.
Ben Olson, district wildlife biologist, that's it, I was trying to think of his name.
Gotcha.
And he says that they're still assessing the impacts of the winter storm on their wildlife. It appears that some species, such as deer and other native wildlife, did okay and managed well. Some songbirds perished, but overall, it didn't appear to be too bad. The storm had an impact on our native bats, but they're still determining the exact number for them, because we do have multiple species of bats here, other than the bracken cave. Exotic mammals such as axis deer took a fairly significant hit, and I know ranchers have been having a problem with that. Not so much with the white-tailed deer, because they're used to this weather. By far, the largest impact has been from our coastal fisheries, where it's estimated that over 3.8 million saltwater fish died as a result of the cold weather. So in terms of other updates, the wildlife tax valuation season is in full swing until the end of April, the deadline for county appraisals. And they are hosting a couple more webinars on this. And the Texas Hill Country Parks and Wildlife Department folks have launched a new Instagram page titled Texas Hill Country Wildlife, where their biologists are posting information about wildlife management, general wildlife information, and they also have a Facebook page with similar content. So, and it is pretty interesting to look that up, so that might be something people would be interested in. And Kat, I have all this information written down for you.
Thank you. That's a great update. I think it's a good update on how our wildlife survived that, because it was, I agree, the deer seem to be doing okay for the days, I guess the days that we did have snow on the ground, they seem to be doing all right, but I didn't see anything that was troublesome or worrisome, but you're right, the fisheries were the most impacted. Lisa?
There, it's green. I checked in with Ben as well, just kind of a different approach, wondering what the impact on all of the impact of the deer would be on us having lost so many bushes and wildflower seeds and all that kind of stuff. And he felt like, you know, by spring we'll have a good idea. That he feels like it will all come back. You know, it will come back depending on how much rain we have. But he was feeling positive about it.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out. I think it's all dependent upon the rain we get. We go through another tough drought and we don't get rain till August. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a little rough, so.
I know in January, we were saying that we were gonna reach out to some other areas, white-tailed deer, if they have a council or wildlife management. And I tried to call a couple people, like, over on, like, past SeaWorld area, and I wasn't able to find anything, so no luck there.
Yeah, the only people I think that are actively doing anything is Lakeway potentially, but I think they're limited on what they're trapping now. And I think we're still, I haven't heard any news differently that we have an actual place to do anything. So that's a problem. I had asked Nancy, and I know she's not here today, but if there were alternatives that the trapper or the person that we had contracted to trap previously was willing, able to do in their, like, what's in their toolkit. I don't think we have any feedback on that yet, but I would say that the answer is not very likely that there's much to do differently than what we've done previously, right? So it's not like we can go around and tranquilize deer and take them off. That's not not plausible, not cost-effective, not legal, so, okay. Let's see, what else do we have? We're gonna go back.
Hollywood Park did tranquilize deer at one time.
Yeah, but they were relocating all those, and they were doing like small numbers.
Right.
Meaning like, what I meant by that was it's not illegal. It's not illegal to tranquilize them, no. It's
can't
illegal
eat the
to, yeah, you can't donate the meat. Yes, sorry. Good call out. But very small, like handfuls of deer that were being relocated. It made more sense, and their population was controlled at that point, by the point that they were doing that. All right, so we're gonna go back to 5A, in this education training session from Commissioner Dr. Minor Williams on dark skies, which I'm very excited to hear about what dark skies is and how we could potentially implement it in our city. So I'm glad we have folks from the city council here tonight too to listen to this. This is good stuff.
Okay, thank you. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm interested in it, so I've read up a little bit on it. So I'm real happy to present this to what I've learned to you tonight. I've taken a lot of this information from the Dark Skies Association, and this they've got multiple PowerPoint presentations on their website that you can use, and I've adapted this to it. So what we'll cover tonight are some definitions about dark skies and other things, and looking at outdoor lighting and the issues with outdoor lighting, and then some of the solutions. So what we know, a nightscape used to be something that was a starry sky with the moon, and when the moon was full, it would be bright, and when it was a new moon, it'd be rather dark. But this lower photo here shows you what city life has become over the last 100 years. You'll see that the sky is a interesting color, orange. That's not the sunset, and there are definitely no stars there. We need light at night for our civilization, so the question is, what's the compromise? So what is light pollution? And that is, we're looking at the wasted light that performs no function or task. So sky glow is that orange haze that we just saw in the previous slide, and that can be seen up to 200 miles. It's exacerbated by particles in the air, like water vapor and aerosols and even cloud cover. Without proper lighting, we have light pollution. And the interesting thing about light pollution is that it actually costs less to solve it than to continue on with where it is at the present time. So artificial light is that light that goes where it's not supposed to, like my neighbor's spotlight into my bedroom window. Or it goes up into the sky. Interestingly, we can measure light pollution. There are some sky quality meters that are a little on the pricey side. There's a Bortle scale is used. It's a scale of 1 to 9, and Texas Parks and Wildlife uses that for their dark sky. They've actually got a dark skies program. There's also there are some online sources where you can go in and plug your zip code in or your city in and find out where you are on the Bortle scale, which is what I did, and this is what we look like. San Antonio is creeping up on us. You can see that they're a very hot spot there, and New Braunfels is coming down at us too. So we are actually a Bortle Class 5, which is fairly good, but it looks like it could rapidly change. And there are measures that we can take ourselves within Garden Ridge to mitigate the progression of it. So the primary source of light pollution is outdoor lighting, and we're infatuated with this. So let's take a look at it. you know, there's a purpose for outdoor lighting. It should provide a safe and secure environment and, you know, safety for traffic routes and cyclists and extending the outdoor spaces. And a lot of times it's used for decorative lighting. We know that. If you look at the slide on the right, you've got a baseball field that's very well lighted. You'll see that the lights are directly on the field. They're not extending outside of the area that it's supposed to be. Now, what's really interesting, okay, let's see if this thing looks. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, those lights there are somebody's house. So they're that close to that ball field, and they're not getting any of the light from that because it's so well constructed for the lighting. Outdoor lighting should enhance your visibility but not impede it. So you shouldn't have that glare that produces that blindness. And glare is defined as excessive brightness from light, and it's usually in a line of sight. It should be part of the total landscape, but not all of it. And it shouldn't allow light trespass on another's property. So are you familiar with light trespassing? That was sort of new to me when I started going into this. And that's where light's going where it's not intended to, or wanted, or needed.
Don't we have a city ordinance with light trespassing? I think we do. We do. We have absolutely a light ordinance. It says that light cannot pass your, I'm not reading it verbatim, so please give me a bit of grace here, but basically light cannot leave your property line, cannot extend past into your neighbor's property.
That is a city ordinance?
It is, and
Oh, yes.
Yes. When I initially did Dark Skies, I helped work with Rob Erickson to help pass that particular ordinance as well. So.
Awesome. You know, I did not look up, so thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay. And when you're looking with outdoor lighting, it should have a master plan, and that begins with an audit of your surroundings, knowing your environment, and what the task of the lighting is to accomplish. There it is. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of shielding light. You know, unshielded lights are what produce sky glow and glare. And you can see on the right how that street light is just totally glaring down. It's supposed to provide security, I would guess, for this parking lot. But you can't see them. Oh, wait a minute. Shoot. There is a guy, wow, how do I, yeah. Keep going up. Okay. Yes. Thank you. I'm double hitting this thing. Okay, so what you can't see in there is on the other side of this van, there's a person standing there. So this supposed glaring light that's supposed to provide safety in the parking lot is not at all. So we can look at some examples of shielded and unshielded lighting. This slide shows two baseball fields. The one on the left obviously has a glare that's going up into the air, and the one on the right you wouldn't even know is there. That it's shining. You can see how the lights are shielded and going straight down, so it's only going on to the airfield. You know, the question is, which neighborhood would you want to live in next to it? This almost needs no explanation at all. How many times have you gone into gas stations at the middle of the night with this horrible glare going on where you can't see anything? It doesn't need to be And you can see the recessed lighting that is done very well here. There is the lighting at an airport. Obviously, we need lighting at airports, and you can see that the shielding is where it's below 90 degrees, so it's below horizontal, and it's all going down. Here's an ATM where not only is there a big glare lighting up the trees, and it's very glaring, but it also illuminates the person going into the ATM, so it's not providing a lot of safety at all. Anybody can see that somebody's there instead of just lighting up what needs to be done. This is called a SAG lens. So it's that releases light everywhere. And it also, you can see how very dim it is, that it's not very functional at this point. It's a mercury vapor lights, and mercury vapor lights never go out, they just dim down. But the interesting thing is, this light is not functional, but the city is paying full price for this light that's not doing anything. So this is an example of how some shielded lighting reduces glare. This is a suburb of Montreal, and on the left-hand side are these Cobra lights where the light just goes out everywhere, and that's what is on most of the street on the right. Where that arrow is pointing, they've got a small segment where they've used shielded lighting, and you can't even tell the road's there because it's going straight down and just doing what it's supposed to do. So it's possible to really, and I think this slide is particularly interesting in how a city that gets invested in this can really reduce sky glow. And if we could convince San Antonio to do this, it would help us out a lot. So what are the issues with too much night light, besides what this poor person in this apartment is suffering through? My daughter's house is like this. It drives me nuts. The guest room is right next to the street light. So let's look at 5 good reasons of why we should be concerned about lighting design, and this is outdoor lighting design, to try to decrease light pollution. The first one is that it totally wastes energy. So you look at the left side here, and this is a shopping area, and they had the lights up on top and going out and everything. And then once they got into adopted a good lighting design, you can see how they took out those top lights. It doesn't really make a whole lot of difference for the parking lot. The parking lot is illuminated the same. And the lighting bills were significantly reduced with this. This is on a university campus. So they've installed a light to provide security for students walking at night, and the light is way up in the trees, so the trees are very safe up there, with a lot of glare coming down. There are you can see a lot of shadows on the path here. Now, look at this. Where'd that student go? That student is right underneath the light post there, totally in shadow from the light that is supposed to be providing safety. Another waste of energy, too. Another reason that we need to be concerned about too much artificial light is what it does on the human health. That we know that research is being done on our biological clocks, and we know that in deep darkness, the bodies naturally produce hormones, including melatonin, which we know we need for sleep, right? And that requires total darkness. Light trespass may disturb the biorhythm. How much and for how long, we don't know that yet. There's a lot of research going on in this. But IDA, the International Dark Night Association, keeps all up on this. And if you follow on their website, they produce all the research results, so you can find a lot of information about this if you're looking for it. Another reason we need to be concerned about it is the impact on astronomy. And so, what's the big deal about astronomy? Well, it is a big deal. The outdoors is the largest natural laboratory there is. And astronomy is a gateway to other sciences. It's involved, the optics used in telescopes have provided information for satellite technology for weather and communication, increased bandwidth for TVs and satellites and radio communication. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This is the increased bandwidth for that. It's a major impact on behind super computer constructions for the last 50 years, the information they've got drawn in from astronomers. It's involved in x-rays for healthcare, luggage screening, biomedical research. I mean, it's the information that comes in from astronomers is just amazing on how other sciences use it. We start cutting out the night sky and we won't have that information anymore, or not as much of it. And then what we're really interested in is the negative impact on wildlife. And animals and plants have the same type of circadian rhythm that we do, and the wildlife and fish can become disoriented by too much artificial light. It can interfere with migration, with mating, the foraging for food and for sleep. There's a lot of research being done on this, and we don't know a lot about it, but we're learning more. And one of the interesting things that's come to light is that not one light spectrum is best for all species. For instance, yellow lights do not attract insects. We sort of know that because we get the yellow light bulbs for our porches. Red lights don't attract turtles. And so we're learning more and more about what's going on with this. But the point is, it's important to know your environment and to be up on how it does affect your local environment. Birds, that migrate or hunt at night can go way off course with artificial lights. Every year, millions of birds die colliding with needlessly illuminated buildings. Frogs and toads it interrupts with their nocturnal croaking, which interrupts with reproduction, and so it decreases the population. And it just goes on and on. You may see some of these in this list of other animals, other wildlife that is affected by nightlife. I'm sort of interested in the one on bats, that again affects their ability to reproduce as well as to go out and forage for food. This was sort of interesting. Sea turtles, which I really got into when I've been going down to the coast. I find fascinating. They hatch at night. They hatch on the beaches, as we probably know, and the hatchlings find their way back to the ocean, looking at the bright light over their horizon. This picture just breaks my heart. So look at this little hatchling going right to the bright light on a parking lot, right towards the car. Florida has a $25,000 fine for destroying any turtle hatchlings, which I thought was sort of interesting. So they're pretty big on it. Coral is another one that's, it's just such a beautiful part of nature that is night lights throw off their biological rhythms. So we know that it's increasing at a rate of at least 2% a year. And what can we do? It sounds sort of overwhelming, but actually this is one type of pollution that we can directly impact. I love this comparison too of where this guy's home was before, like my neighbor's light, and how it provides better lighting function for when he uses a shielding. This is quick review of the different types of lamps. And that you'll see the poor ones are the ones where the light can go up and out and it's over, up into the air. The better ones are all pointing down. They're below the 90% angle. You've got column fittings like this. You've got wall-mounted lanterns that are you can see how it's shielded all around and just going down. When you're looking at responsible, here another thing of luminaries, and this was again another business that became involved with a good lighting design and how the change for that is. Again, they've got the same, the purpose is the same and providing the lighting around their building for the safety. So things that we can do when you're thinking about lighting. One is it should be useful. Look at the first thing is it needed? And where, how does it affect the wildlife in our area? Like, again, we know now, the different light bands affect animals differently. It should be targeted, so it's only where it's needed. And we've seen multiple examples of that. And as our new high school has done very well with the lighting and the ball fields, using the lowest light levels possible. We're all caught up in bigger and more is better. I think that's part of our American DNA. But we've really got to think about that when it comes to light. And I wish I would have known about this when we bought our lights on the outside of our garage, that we immediately went for the real bright ones. But you don't need to. The controlled lights, so that's motion detectors. Timers are good, but motion detectors are better. And then the color, using warmer lights when possible instead of the real bright blue lights. Working with your neighbors and government to ensure outdoor lighting is safe for wildlife. And you can always visit darksky.org for more information on how to do this. So we can help protect wildlife with keeping skies dark. In April, the 5th through the 12th is International Dark Sky Week. So you can go to the website to find out what's going there. And like I said, the Texas Parks and Wildlife does have a dark skies program. So they point out different parks that you can go to with dark skies where you can go see the stars. Any questions?
I had a quick question. You were mentioning the new high school, because the elementary and the high school are the two things that I think of that have the most light in our, are they working on having light that's efficient for like dark skies, or just because it feels like they are lit up everywhere?
The new high school is good. I'm not sure about the other schools.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that the city has any requirement.
I know the school was, when they built it, was obviously considering
Yes.
George Ranch and the impact that light may have on those residents. I think the ball field, meaning the football field, and I haven't seen the baseball lights field. I've seen the football lights field on for myself, and I think it does a good job of keeping light on the field. That's not to say that high school isn't lit up at night, which it is. I'm not sure how much light, like it's pushing into George Ranch, and I'm just talking about the parking lot lights and maybe the lights that are on the buildings themselves. But honestly, I haven't paid attention, but I will look at it now that we've talked about it. I don't know that they considered that in the design per se of the parking lot lights, but I know they definitely considered it when they were talking about the football field.
And once you get this in your brain, you start looking around, at, and you see houses with these lights all around, and it's like, what's the purpose of this? Supposedly for safety, but they've got two, and it's just it gets very interesting, and so we can all help, and bringing it up at neighborhood associations is a good thing, to try to get people interested in this. And and the best way to do that is to emphasize the good points of it. It's it's saving energy, it's good for the wildlife, it's good for human health. Just going through everything.
There have been no complaints in George Range from the night lights from the high school at all,
There you go.
whether parking lot or sporting events. And if you come from a distance, you really have to look to see if I've come from ball games at Navarro trying to make sure I got to the game here for a football game on a Friday night. And I had to really look to make sure I went up to the school to make sure they were still playing, because I could not tell that the lights were even on. The only one that bleeds out a little bit is the softball field. It's because they got a berm back there, and they're gonna use that berm for the kids to sit on during the warmer days of spring, but it doesn't go past our fence. It does not light up any farmer's pasture or anything. The parking lot lights are all down. None of them are up.
Yeah,
Even
they're all-
around the
it's all
building, they're
IDA
angled down.
compliant. Yeah.
And it's pretty much to make sure that when they got people parked in there, you can see where you park, and you can also make sure for security to go around, because there's a security guard and a deputy working every event. And that last Saturday, he was there from 7 o'clock in the morning, the security guard and the deputy were there I know the security guard was there from 7 to 10:30 at night, because they had a dance competition going on at the school.
Okay.
In the gym.
So they are very good with their lighting, though.
Oh, yeah, they
That's
are
good.
very good, I think.
Yeah, I think I've got get George Ranch to cut down on some of their outdoor lighting.
Well, some of that's residents like, we have very
No,
little. Well,
we've got the
our
ones at
lights
the
have gone,
entrances, they're
changed.
pretty
I know,
bright,
coming
too.
in the entrances, that's all gone to LED. It's not
Yeah.
mercury vapor or anything. I have some problems with some of the lighting, but some people want more light, so you have to go with what the flow of what your residents also want.
I almost wonder if this is something we could put in like a future Grapevine article, like 5 things that you could do in your own house. Just because I know that we've changed quite a few of our lights, just because we've visited Dark Skies Parks and learned a little bit more about it. But that might be just an easy education that we could copy from the website.
And I haven't checked it out, but you should be able to get, even with the lights that you have, you can get shielding for the lights.
If somebody wanted to send in a Grapevine article for the April Grapevine, because that's International Dark Sky Week, I still have time to place something in there if somebody had time.
When
Somebody-
is the due date on that one, Kat?
Thursday preferably,
Like this coming Thursday?
this Thursday.
Spring break.
Come on, Kat.
Not for you.
I'll see what I can do, Kat.
It's
We can
spring
just
break
lift
for
it
the
from-
kids,
I can
not
just
the
lift it from
parents.
here.
There is hope for City of San Antonio. Any luminaire that is to be touched by any contractor or city within the city limits, they are all being changed out to LED shielded. So we may see that come down. I don't know how much impact they can have on residential, but as far as city-owned and CPS-owned poles.
Is is it reversible light pollution? Like,
Absolutely.
okay.
And absolutely, and that's the great thing about it, that we can decrease it. It's very reversible.
And I'm not sure that there's a better initiative for this commission that would be able to help with wildlife than that. Like the initial kind of bringing us together was around deer, right? Obviously, I think with the challenges that we've seen in the past 2 years, I'm not sure that there's a better direction for us to go than becoming more either dark sky friendly, there's different, I think there's different, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, different tiers of like dark sky friendly cities. There's different tiers, like you can be, I don't know, 1 through 10 on the scale of how dark sky friendly are you. And I'm not saying that this is, you know, we should be at the very top. That's not what I mean. But I think progressing towards something that's an improvement not only affects our own wildlife that we have running around today, but, you know, we have the largest concentration of mammals in the world in our backyard. So I think helping that out would be, if there's one thing that I think this commission could do, that may be this may be the next catalyst, if you will. I don't know what else you'd call it. But that's just my 2 cents. So
Did you want to make that a future agenda item?
I think that would be great. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. All right.
Future agenda.
Future agenda items. We added one just now. Anybody else got anything they want to add? You want to save the blue bonnets? No? Okay.
Go around telling people to turn out their lights will be popular.
Hey, we were pretty popular back then, so I think we can forge ahead. Just it'll be interesting. How about that? All right. Anybody else want to add anything? No? Okay. So next Wildlife Commission meeting will be April 19th at 6 o'clock here at City Hall. Citizens' comment period's up next for 20 minutes. Anybody want to come up and talk? Come on.
Kay Bauer, 8947 Garden Ridge Drive. To answer your question, which I think most of you knew, excuse me, yes, we do have an ordinance 13, and it does incorporate lumens and light shed and all that on your property, on your neighbor's property, your property. The hard part is enforcing it, having the right meter to come out and say, oop, the line is right here and you need to stop. But we are also, as a member of the tech committee for the Ordinance 13 rewrite, which is down to 172 pages, we are incorporating or attempting to incorporate the dark skies concept. We've brought it up before, so I would love to get a hard copy of your presentation and take it back to our next meeting, which will, excuse me, probably be within the next couple weeks. But we do want to address that. We made it as a monarch city. We want to try to make it as some degree of a dark sky with our future development on 2252. That's pretty important to us, and we have already discussed it. So hopefully we can make it work. Thank you.
Thank you. Great information. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Okay. That adjourns our Wildlife Commission meeting. It is 6:57. Thanks for coming.